Okay, in this video I'm going to go through the processing of 3D printed dentures. And so I've got two options here. So really if you're going to be doing 3D printed dentures, you've got the option of doing a monolithic denture, which is what you're seeing right here. This has been printed entirely in the crown and bridge material. As you can see, these have really good anatomy on them, but I actually did not do any festooning, and we left all of that gingiva shy up here, which more or less creates a cutback space into which we can apply gingival material. And then the other option is that we have the 3D printed teeth and a 3D printed base in pink. And so with this option, you'll be going through the bonding process to bond these two objects together and then polish it up and be ready to deliver it. But as you can see, the fit is very nice. Drops right into the sockets that were created by the Blue Sky software. And also I've left these on the supports. It just makes handling these a little bit easier. And then you can go back and just remove those once you've actually done the bonding process. So for starters, I'm going to go through the monolithic denture. Now there's a lot of different options of how you can do this. You can use gingival composite like Annex gum or Gradia gum. There's many gingival composites, but actually the material I've found that I like the most is called Triad High Flow. This is approved for long-term use in the mouth, and I really like this because of its ease of application. You can take one of these sheets and just cut off a square and apply it right onto the facial surface, and it makes the gingival festooning part go really quickly. And so before I jump into that, I want to prepare the denture, the monolithic denture, for bonding, and I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to apply a few little divots using a handpiece right into the surface of this denture, and I'm just doing this to create a little bit more retention. Generally you don't have problems with the retention of this gingival material, but I like to create a little bit more. Okay. And next what I'm going to do is apply a bonding agent. And here again, there's not just a single material that will work. You can use many different products, but the stuff that I'm going to use here is called Bond LC. This is available from Annex Dent North America. And the reason I like this is because it has the ability to bond to both composites and to acrylic type materials. And I find it to be just a good general purpose bonding agent for all of my denture applications. So what I'll do is take some of that bonding agent and I'm going to apply it all around the facial surface of this denture. Now I'm going to let the solvent evaporate and I will light cure this. Now while I'm doing these videos, you're going to notice that I time-lapse the actual curing of this material just because I don't want you to have to sit and watch me curing stuff. So whenever you see a really short cure time, realize that that's just because it's being time-lapsed. Okay, with the bonding agent having been applied, I'm now going to get a piece of the Triad high flow material. So it's embedded in between these mylar sheets. So open up the mylar and then just cut a strip. Doesn't need to be extremely wide. Remember, we're mainly just trying to festoon that area right around the necks of the teeth and anywhere that might be visible aesthetically. And so this should be more than enough material. And now I will just apply this right on the buccal surface. Alright, so somewhat of a sloppy application, but that's okay. That's partly what I want you to see, is just how easy and forgiving this stuff is to apply. So with that done, I'm going to just start taking a finger and pressing it in and condensing this material into the embrasures all the way around. And don't worry a whole lot about the excess at this point. As you can see, I had lots of excess on that tooth, but just by dabbing at it with my finger, we can get rid of most of that excess. So I'm just taking that finger and kind of rolling it down, and what that does is it squeezes it into the embrasure space and it gets it off of the necks of the teeth. And then obviously there's no need to do this on the lingual surface of the denture. This is just for aesthetic's sake. So once I've adapted this a little bit on the buccal surface, I'm going to now take my barred parker and cut away the excess. So cutting down and away from the material so it doesn't try to pull off any. I'm just going to go on the border here. And then remove that. And that can go right back into your Triad sheet, and you can keep this out of visible light and then be able to use that in the future. So there's a lot less waste in this method, and you also are going to not have near as much materials expense because a sheet of Triad is far cheaper than most of the gingival composites that are on the market. So I'm just going to continue going around here. Let's dab at this a little bit more, readapt the area where I just cut, and make sure everything is adhering nicely. And then we can do all of the fine tuning. Now, to do the fine detailing, this is an instrument that I really like. I got this from Style Italiano. And it's a little rubber point, kind of like a pen, but this is great for just dabbing at the material, and it will help you to adapt in these little narrow embrasure spaces. And it's also great for cleaning the material off of the teeth. So as you can see here, I can simply go around the neck of this tooth, and because this is so non-stick, it will just push the composite material down, and that simultaneously develops a bit of a gingival roll. I'm also taking it and dabbing in to make sure it's fully adapted in the interproximal areas. And now we'll just continue around the arch, pulling that material off of the teeth and just doing our festooning. So I'll time lapse this. Okay, that's all done. I'm just going to tack this into place briefly. And now with that all tacked into place, I'm just going to apply a bit of an air barrier. And so this is just standard glycerin that you can get at any drugstore. And the goal with this is just to cover up all of that composite material. And this will inhibit oxygen from getting to the surface so that it can cure more thoroughly without that tacky oxygen inhibited layer. And it's also nice because you can take your finger and just really smooth over this and make sure that there's no rough spots whatsoever. Alright, so that goes into the light curing oven, and that really is it for the processing of a monolithic denture. And so now we'll switch over and show the bonding process on an entirely printed denture that's in two pieces, in the pink and the white.